BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. Recently, Windows Central posted an interesting article where they recently conducted a survey over on Twitter, asking Windows users the things they dislike the most about Windows 11. So I thought in this video, if you were interested, we could take a quick look as to some of the aspects and features or lack of features in some cases that users are finding frustrating and dislike the most about using Windows 11. Now, I must just say at the outset that these different features and aspects that users dislike using Windows 11 are not listed in any particular order, and also there are a lot of comparisons between Windows 10 and Windows 11 and the lack of features in Windows 11 compared to Windows 10. So I have posted some videos previously in months gone by comparing the operating systems, so you can just do a search on this channel if that would be of interest. Now, the first is, although not the most common complaint, is pointing towards the performance of Windows 11, with one user saying over on Twitter that it was slower on older PCs that were super fast using Windows 10. Now, that was my case when I upgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 11 version 21H2 on this device. And 21H2 was the original release of Windows 11, and I did find that original release to be quite sluggish and slow. But as I have mentioned on this channel and in the comments, after upgrading recently in September to Windows 11, the 22H2 feature update, I have found my Windows 11 operating system to be a lot more responsive and snappier. So I have found personally that upgrading to Windows 11 22H2 has actually increased the performance of my Windows 11 device and operating system. And then moving on to another feature that they dislike, or lack of in this case, missing features. In particular pertaining to the taskbar, missing features in the Windows 11 taskbar that you actually still get over on Windows 10. So a lot of comparison here between Windows 10 and 11. Now, one user states that I'm not able to click on date and time on the taskbar on a secondary monitor in order to open the calendar, and you can't dock the taskbar to the left or right side of the monitor. As many of you may know, the taskbar stays at the bottom in Windows 11. And then another user noted that the taskbar is lacking the option to show labels and never group the buttons and the icons in the taskbar. Now, as I did post last week, that could all be changing. And I did mention in a video I posted last week, actually two videos I posted last week. The first was that never combine taskbar buttons could be making a comeback. The option to never combine your taskbar buttons could be making a comeback to Windows 11. And that was spotted in an earlier dev channel build 25246, and I'll leave a link to that video in the description. And then also the seconds in the system tray clock could be another feature that also could be making a return. That was spotted in the same dev channel build, and I'll also leave a link to that video in the description. So the lack of taskbar features compared to Windows 10 was another thing and feature or lack of features that users found frustrating and they disliked using Windows 11. And then also regarding the lack of features, one user said that there's a new shiny task manager. So the task manager, as many of you will know, with Windows 11 version 22H2 has received a visual redesign with dark and light theme and a couple of new options and a different layout. But they say it's a lot slower than the old one. So although it's now got some eye candy and some cosmetic redesign, users are finding that it's slower than the old task manager. Now, moving on to the next user interface, the UI. There was quite a bit of criticism regarding the user interface, and mainly about inconsistencies in the user interface and poor choices that Microsoft made with Windows 11. Now, one user states over on Twitter that everything feels different from each other. The start menu, they say, feels like some web UI and user interface, and the apps feel modern, but then the file explorer, they say, feels like a legacy component. Now, I have found one of my frustrations with Windows 11, and I think quite a lot of users who do use the operating system, is the inconsistency of the theme throughout, and the actual operating system's theme throughout Windows 11. And as an example, you can see I have the dark mode enabled. I have my taskbar in dark mode. But as many of you will know who do use Windows 11, as an example, if I head over to the legacy device manager, that's still in a light theme. So personally, I would suggest that Microsoft makes the theme consistent throughout Windows 11. So when you've got dark mode applied, it applies to all aspects of the operating system. And they have already started that with the Task Manager, as mentioned previously. But I think that would be a nice move in the right direction if Microsoft did make the theme consistent throughout Windows 11 on a personal level. And then ads came up. Users obviously, in a lot of cases, disliked ads that Microsoft has continued to increase basically in the operating system. And the most recent was with the Start menu, which I have posted on previously, where there are now suggested websites that have been spotted in last week's Dev Channel build, where websites are being recommended. And then, as I did post on a week or two ago, which I'll also leave a link to in the description, if we click on the profile picture, there are new promos for OneDrive that were spotted in some newer Windows 11 Dev Channel builds. And that's in the profile flyout menu, just above here, the change account settings. And that's to back up your files with OneDrive and with another ad suggesting signing up for a Microsoft account in the user profile menu, in the Start menu. So obviously the ads that Microsoft is pushing throughout the operating system is causing a lot of frustration with users using the Windows 11 operating system. And then a big one here was the lack of support for older hardware. And this has been a controversial issue since Windows 11 rolled out in October of 2021. And basically the two main big ones here are the TPM2 requirements and the CPU requirements. A lot of older hardware running Windows 10 cannot upgrade to Windows 11 because of the TPM2 security chip and requirements, and also older CPUs running on a lot of Windows 10 devices. So lack of support for older hardware was a big issue with a lot of users pertaining to Windows 11. And then, as Windows Central does note, just to end off this video, that the responses to the questions in the survey they did conduct over on Twitter were mostly negative. That's because they asked what users do dislike about the operating system. But as Windows Central does note, there are many aspects of Windows 11 that people do like. So basically, they're going to have to visit the flip side of things in another future survey where they will ask people the things they do like about Windows 11. And I think that will be quite interesting, as there is a lot of things and features pertaining to Windows 11 that are actually useful and have moved in the right direction. And when and if Windows Central does do that survey, I will then post and let you know accordingly. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.